What's up, everybody? Well, I got another Asus Ally X gameplay video for you guys today, and today we're gonna try to play some Silent Hill 2. Now, I tried on the Steam Deck and it actually launched and let me in the game, but once I got in there, we were like at 15 to 32 FPS, mostly in the teens to low 20s. So, not what I would exactly call playable, but hey, some people might still be fine with that. As long as it doesn't crash on them, they're happy with that. I mean, hell, let's be honest, Breath of the Wild on the Switch drops down to those kinds of FPSs. Not quite as often as that, but in certain areas they do get about that low. So if people can deal with that, maybe some people can deal with it the whole time like this. Who am I to judge? I'm just the guy who shows you how things run. So we're gonna try to run it on this. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do my 1080p high, medium, and low thing. I mean, it was already using 5.7 gigs of VRAM at low 720p, and this thing only has 8. So I'll try, but it might just say or just insta crash on me and not load. So we'll see, but let's stop wondering and let's go get hooked up to the capture computer and get to finding out.
All right, so this is probably gonna go terribly. It might not even load at all, but we're gonna try doing 1080p with the high preset. No ray tracing though, I didn't even bother with that. I figured it wasn't gonna go well, why bother? It'd probably be like 1 FPS or just insta crash. But in any case, why don't we go get into the game and see how it plays? If it plays. Well, here we are in the game. It's actually not doing as bad as I thought. I figured it's gonna be like 5 FPS or something like that. Still nowhere near playable by any means, but we'll still walk around for just a little tiny bit. I usually try to do like a minute and 20 seconds, because anything less than that makes it kind of hard to see on the little chapters thing. I mean, it's hard enough to click on the settings thing, but I got that just good enough to barely click on. Alright, though, let's move on. Now for 900p medium settings. Still probably won't be super playable, but it is what it is. I'm hoping for at least around 20-ish FPS now. That would be cool. Still not playable, but that's kind of what I'm guessing. But hey, let's go find out. Well, here we go. Well, we're a little bit better than 15 FPS, but not quite over 20. Right at 19. It's like right under what I was hoping it would get. Or not hoping, but predicting it would get. Hey, there's 20. Alright, though. I'd say this is probably a good spot for us to go and move on and see what 720p and low can do. So, 720p time. On low. We're not doing any upscaling yet. That will be next. Alright, let's go see if we can at least get some playable FPS now. Well, alright, we're getting like 32 to 30 something FPS now. Alright, this is much better. I mean, there's still probably some times where it's going to drop under 30, but yeah, this is much better. Obviously, it doesn't look very good, but hey, it is what it is. Yeah, seems pretty damn playable. At least in this particular little area. Alright, let's move along. Now let's try all the upscalers. We get access to a lot more this time. We're going to try TSR first, which definitely did not seem to do very great on the Steam Deck. I mean, it didn't look great, but at least it did better than the built-in FSR. I don't think the Ally has anything like that. At least not built in, so didn't count it. Nor will we try FSR 1.0 when we can try 3.0. That 1.0 was our only option on the Steam Deck for some reason, and we couldn't use the Intel one either. I think we can here. Anyway, to the game. Well, here we go. Definitely got a frame or two. Does make everything seem a little soft though. Though for some reason it seems to be doing a better job here than it did on the Steam Deck. Maybe that's just placebo though. But it didn't look as bad. Maybe the Steam Deck just doesn't like that. The Steam Deck can be finicky sometimes. Alright, moving on. Now let's try FSR 3. We'll just do quality. I mean, I wish I had the time to go through all of them on every system, but I think the only thing I did that on was the desktops and for ray tracing. Just to see if we could get freaking playable FPS on it. Anyway, though, let's go see how it does. Well, now, here we go. Try a little FSR 3. Definitely seems to give us a couple FPS more, too, just like the other one did. But nothing groundbreaking. But every little bit helps when you're not getting lots of FPS. Though this one seems to have a lot more, like... What's the right word for it? It seems to make the little weird, like, things around. It's almost like artifacts. As he moves around, you can, like, kind of see it, like, wobble around. It seems to make that even worse. It's been happening, like, the whole time, but it's even worse with this. But it might not be so noticeable on the actual screen itself, but when I've got it all blown up on this freaking 48-inch TV thing when I'm editing, it's pretty easy to see. Curious how the Intel version will do. But now, let's move on to the Intel upscaler. Last up, before we do camera recorded gameplay, let's do a little XeSS on quality. And see how that does. And alright, that is the bottom already. Let's go see how it stacks up compared to the other two upscalers. Well, alright. So here we are. Seems to be getting pretty equal to FSR. I mean, FSR might have the edge by like an FPS or two. But this one definitely hides the weird artifacts going around this dude better. The only thing that's a little weird is I can see like more blockiness in his hair and the back. But I don't think I would notice that if I wasn't on this big-ass screen. Like if I was just on the Steam Deck screen, I don't think I'd notice. Or not Steam Deck, Ally screen. Got too many damn PCs here. But I can definitely see why people use this over FSR. Alright, though, why don't we move on to some camera?
Alright, let's get some camera recorded gameplay now. I went and turned FSR3 on to quality, because it seemed to give us a little bit of an uptick. Without it, we were getting like 38 FPS to 37 around here. I'd rather get like 40, and it doesn't really make it look any worse. But anyway, let's just start walking towards the destination now that we're done, you know, getting terrible FPS. Yeah. On the actual screen itself, it doesn't really look that bad. I mean, obviously it looks infinitely better than the old PS2 version, that's for sure. But there's some of that stutter. That's the problem with the PC version. Apparently there's some stutter in this particular game for now. Maybe it'll get fixed later. Maybe not. Although, we could probably leave it to modders to get that fixed. Most of the time they can work wonders. I mean, they made Final Fantasy 16 infinitely better. I wasn't very impressed with that game when it first came out, but thanks to modders, it made the picture quality look a whole lot better, unlocked the frame rate for the videos, which was nice watching all those cutscenes and like whatever FPS your shit can handle instead of just 30. Yeah, pretty badass. But yeah, so far, at least in this game, Ally X definitely beats out the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck was not very playable in this game. We were only getting like 19 to like 30 FPS. And then Woods here, we were getting like sometimes 32, but we're getting like 45 here. This is definitely playable. Would I like 60 plus with higher settings? Absolutely, but just being realistic here, most of the time if these handhelds can play a game, you're playing on 720p low. If you're going to get playable FPS anyway, on a AAA title. Now, older games or esports games, now those ones are, you can get way more FPS and turn some settings up. In the older games, and obviously most esports people want everything on low, and they just want FPS. They don't really care what the game looks like. It could look like a freaking 8-bit game. As long as they were getting like 1,000 FPS versus like 30, they'd be happy. At least that's how I've had it explained to me by those guys. Ah, so that's how you save the game. I'm not even going to bother saving yet, because I'm just going to restart when I get to the fire bat anyway, so doesn't really matter, but it's good to know that's what those do. Oh, I guess these cutscenes are 30 FPS. I was gonna say, oh shit, if it's already 30 here, it might drop during the cutscene.
I'm sorry. I was just...
Hey, it's okay. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm kind of lost.
Lost?
Yeah. Looking for Silent Hill. Is this the right way?
Yeah. It's hard to see with this fog, but there's only the one road. You can't miss it.
Thanks.
But?
I think you should stay away. This town, there's something wrong with it. And it's not just the fog either.
Is it dangerous?
Maybe.
Maybe.
It's kind of hard to explain, but
I'll be careful.
I'm not lying.
No, I believe you. It's just... I guess I don't really care if it's dangerous or not. I'm going either way.
But why?
I'm looking for... someone. Someone very important to me.
Me too. I'm looking for my mama. I mean, my mother. It's been so long since I've seen her. I thought my father and brother were here, but I can't find them either. I'm sorry, it's not your problem.
No, I hope you find them.
Yeah, you too.
Alright, I think that's probably a good spot for us to go move along and wrap the video on up.
Well, alright guys, that's a wrap for Silent Hill 2 on the Asus Ally X. And while it's not playable at 1080p high or 900p medium, it's definitely playable at 720p low. Especially if you add a little extra FSR on there. Now, natively it was still staying above 30 every place I was at. Now, once you get into the buildings, I've heard it gets even harder to run, so without the FSR, you might not be able to stay over 30 there, but I think with FSR, you should have no problem staying over 30 in this game on this thing. Of course, there could be the fringe spot where it drops down to like 28 or something like that here and there, but unless the interior portions of the game are so much more difficult to run than I'm thinking of, I don't think there'll be any issues here. Obviously, if anybody got farther and got to that part in there and get like 20 FPS or something, please let me know. I'd like to know to inform people. But as far as I can tell, it seems to run pretty damn good on this thing. Very impressed. I was expecting, to be, maybe borderline playable at like 30-ish FPS, like 35, but I'll take 40 to 45, even into the 50s sometimes. I'll take that. Anyway though, that is all I got for this particular video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, because I sure as hell enjoyed making it for you guys. And until the next video, peace out, guys.